Hey, nice to see you. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Vanessa. I like to talk about books. So this weekend I've been really shamed into clearing out my bookshelves and creating space for new books because I literally have books in piles all over the floor by my friend Rebecca, who has done a fantastic job at clearing out the books that she feels like that are on her shelves that she'll never get around to reading or rereading. I believe she's going to have a video up too, so go over to her channel and subscribe if you're not already so you don't miss that video. I filmed one of these videos a couple of months ago and you really enjoyed it, and I've actually been pretty ruthless and I'm still not finished going through my shelves. As you can see, there's a lot that is going on here. So I thought I would just show you what I'm currently getting rid of. First off, I do want to say I don't regret any book that I've ever bought, even if I've bought it and haven't read it. In that moment of buying it, I've supported a charity shop, a bookshop, a publisher, an author, and it's just the case that if I haven't read it yet, I can't imagine getting around to reading it anytime soon. If I do want to reread it in the future, I'm sure I can find it secondhand if I want to, but in the meantime, I might be providing someone with a book that they really want to read but can't afford to buy new. I don't have the means to buy it new, so I'm fine with getting rid of these books. I've reached a point in my book collection where I either need to get a fourth bookcase or get rid of some of the things that I have to make room on my shelves, and I'm trying to be a responsible adult and not give in to the fourth bookcase scenario. And I said this in my last Unhaul video that it's really rare for me to actually collect anything. Generally, I don't like to hold on to belongings. I'm quite a simplistic person. Having things makes me stressed, so having this many of anything is out of character for me. So I want to give them a good purge. So I'm going to currently show you the state of my shelves, books that I've already sorted into being let go, and we're going to go through my shelves together and maybe talk about what I'm planning on getting rid of, what are maybes. Let me know in the comments if any of these maybes you think I should keep for this reason or get rid of for this reason. It would really help get some feedback on some of these books so I know which ones that I'm confident in getting rid of. If you find that you like this video and you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing so that you can come on my reading journey with me as well. If you're not subscribed but still like this video and feel like you want to support me and my channel, you can just leave this video a thumbs up or leave me a little emoji in the comments. The engagement really helps get this video out there to more people. So let's cut the chit chat and have a look at my shelves. Alrighty, so I have actually cleared out that box down there, as you can see in the corner on my desk, which are really messy, so I don't want to show you them. I have a massive pile of books there to end up putting on these. So this is what I've managed to get rid of so far, but my shelves are still mega full. There's some little bit of space over here that I've managed to make out of all of that, which isn't great. So we still have a little bit to go. So now I'm just going to sit with you and talk you through the books that I've already sorted into getting rid of. Most of these books will be going to secondhand bookstores or charity shops. Some of them I might sell on Twitter, so if you're following me on Twitter you may see some of them on there. Me and Rebecca also tend to swap books between ourselves, so some of these will be going to her as well. So the first one Rebecca has already claimed, and that is Legion and the Empress Soul by Brandon Sanderson. This is a collection of 2 short stories. I'm getting rid of this. I haven't read it. I'm going to be honest, and this is a very unpopular opinion. I'm not that into Brandon Sanderson books, so I'll never get around to reading this if I'm honest. I'd rather this go to someone who enjoys collecting Brandon Sanderson more than me. Next, the ones that I'm probably going to sell on Twitter, so if you're interested, head on over to there, and that's The Assassin's Curse and the Pirate's Wish by Cassandra Rose Clarke. The Pirate's Wish has never been read. It is brand new, and this has been read, but the spine's never been broken. It's in perfect condition. I read The Assassin's Curse and I really didn't like it. I was holding on to it in case I wanted to reread it and my opinions changed like they did with Shadow and Bone, but Shadow and Bone is really well written, where I feel like this one maybe didn't have the most brilliant use of the English language. So I will be getting rid of these. I don't think that I'll enjoy them at my current age either. I'm sure someone would absolutely adore these. Then we have Enchante, which is a young adult novel which is set in the French Revolution but has a magical element to it as well. It sounds like my thing, but realistically I'm not going to get around to reading it in the foreseeable future. Next is Little Fires Everywhere. This is brand new. I got this because I watched the Netflix adaptation and really enjoyed it, and I heard that the plot line is slightly different from the TV adaptation to the book, so I wanted to see how it changed. But realistically, I'm not going to get around to reading this anytime soon. I'd rather this go to someone who wants to read it. And I really enjoyed what I watched of it on Netflix, and I feel content with that. Next, I want to quickly just run off some classics that I have. For some reason, I was collecting my Penguin classics because I really enjoyed having them, but realistically I'm not going to read these, and they're just taking up space on my shelves. So that's H.G. Wells' The Shape of Things to Come. These two paperbacks, which are literally paper, these are from when Borders, which I think is an American bookshop which tried to break into the UK market but didn't do that successfully at all, and they made very cheap affordable versions of classic books for £2 at the time. These are both by Jane Austen, but I can't see myself getting round to reading Sense and Sensibility and Mansfield Park anytime soon, although I have kept Pride and Prejudice. Far from the Maddening Crowd by Thomas Hardy, again one that I don't think I'm going to get around to reading, although I think this is the nicest picture on a Penguin Classics book. It's so eerie. I spoke about maybe getting rid of this in my last one, and a lot of people said that they enjoyed it, so I was keeping it. However, realistically, probably not one I'm going to get around to reading for the next couple of years. And probably the hardest one to get rid of from all of these, that's The Great Gatsby. But Leonardo DiCaprio is one of my favourite actors of all time, and I love him in The Great Gatsby, and I feel like maybe him, because he was in it, was the reason that I actually enjoyed the film. I know that the book is really fun to sit down and analyse, and you can take a lot from this, and it is a short read, but I just need to do it, man. I just need to get rid of it. Next is two that really pains me to be getting rid of, but I feel like I just need to do it at this point, and that's because of the theme of the books, and that's All the Light We Cannot See and The Tattoos of Auschwitz. I've heard so many good things about these books. A lot of people have recommended them to me. However, I don't like to read a book which makes me sad. I still get so upset about the essay that I had to write about the Holocaust when I was in university, and I didn't sleep for 7 weeks and ended up having to go to counselling. It was a wild time. So purely because I don't want to put myself through that upset, and I like to enjoy to take my mind to a happier place, I will be getting rid of these ones, but I'm sure that these are fantastic books. Next is My Sister the Serial Killer. I read this last month, so if you want to see what my thoughts are on this book, you can head on over to a couple of videos ago for my October wrap-up to see what I thought of this. It was a good read. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'm sure someone on my Twitter would love to take this off me, so I'll probably list it on over there. I used to have quite a big Phillip Gregory collection. There was a few that I kept on to though, but I am just going to get rid of every book that I have left over from Phillip Gregory. I got halfway through The Red Queen, but I haven't read The White Princess, The King's Curse or Tidelands, but I just feel like there's better books out there to be reading. I'm sorry for Phillip Gregory, but I think our relationship has come to an end. Then we have the sequel to Shantaram. I read Shantaram this year and really enjoyed it, but the character that I was reading Shantaram for did die in that book, so he's not going to be in this one, so I feel like without that character in it, I'm not going to enjoy it as much. This is also a really long read, and I just don't want to dedicate myself to carrying on that storyline. I feel like what I read was satisfactory, so I don't want to read this, so I will be getting rid of this one. It is also quite a thick one off my shelves. Then we have Voyage by Stephen Baxter and Terry Pratchett. These two authors used to write a lot of sci-fi books together. This is sort of like a alternative history book where JFK survives. He teams up with current President Richard Nixon to greenlight the first manned mission to Mars. And it's supposed to represent what would be a realistic attempt of humans' mission to Mars. This is part of a series. Again, this is a thick book off my shelves. I just don't want to be dedicating my time reading this. It's just so long. Picked this up because space fiction is a genre that I'm very interested in. I really enjoy it. Now that I've understood my reading taste a bit better, I think my enjoyment of this purely lies within the young adult genre. I don't know why, but I don't really enjoy adult space as much as young adult space. So I don't think this will be a loss for me. Next is Confess by Colleen Hoover. This is a new adult romance book. This is probably my first proper new adult read, and I really enjoyed it. I read it about 5 years ago, but I have kept on with it because I thought that I would reread it. But I think now I would rather just read some of Colleen Hoover's other books instead of going back to this one. I'm sure someone would love this just as much as I loved it. Next is The Deathless Girls. I was going to keep this because I think the cover is absolutely stunning and I love the sprayed edges. It's a Waterstones exclusive, but I didn't really like the story of this. I read it a couple of months ago, so you've probably seen it in some of my earlier videos. And I was so disappointed in this book. I was really hoping that this would be an amazing sapphic Gothic romance novel, and I just didn't get that. So I'm really sad to be parting with this one, but it's just taking up space on my shelves for a book that I'm never going to read again. But it pains me to be parting with this cover. I've had this next book for absolutely years, and I don't know why I bought it. And that is a non-fiction book, SPQR, by Mary Beard, who is a very famous female historian in the UK. I purchased this at the end of my history degree, and I really shouldn't have, because at the end of my history degree was when I was absolutely done with non-fiction history anything. I have read about 50 pages of this and I thought it was really good and I really enjoyed what I read and it was so informative, but I just can't go back to that place of learning about history again. My brain was fried after 3 years, so I'm done with this. Then we have Mexican Gothic. I acquired this recently and I read it straight away in anticipation and I thought it was just okay. I will be talking about this in my November wrap up, so if you want to see what my thoughts are on this book, subscribe to me so you'll see that video coming up on your newsfeed. But because this is newly published, I know a lot of people want this, so I'd rather pass this book on to someone who really wants it. Next is a book that was an ARC. This is The Doors of Eden by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I read about half of this book but didn't really get into it. It's very intelligent though and I feel like someone would absolutely adore this book. It is just a shame to be keeping it on my shelves. I'd love to have it on my shelves and feature it this way because this is again one of the most stunning covers that I've ever seen. It really makes me think of Destiny 2 for some reason, with like the moon in the background and these stones, but whatever. So I would love to keep this. But again, it's just space and I feel like someone else would really want this more than what I want to keep onto it. And lastly, I'm getting rid of A Curse So Dark and Lonely. This has been read, but this is honestly like brand new condition. I'm so surprised at myself for the way that I'm able to keep these in such good condition after having read them. This is another book which just fell so flat in its expectations for me. I feel like there's so many other better Beauty and the Beast retellings out there. I'll not be continuing on with this series, so I don't know why I would want to be keeping this book. Again, someone would love this more than me. I know, I just found another Thomas Hardy book at the bottom of the box, so I'm getting rid of Tess of the D'Urbervilles as well. The Man in the High Castle by Phillip Dick. I really wanted to read this, but I've not heard that many great things about it if I'm honest, so I don't know. I'm not inspired to read it. And another non-fiction history, which is a book called The History of France. So that's currently the books that I have sorted. Let's head on over to my shelves and go through them together and see what else I can get rid of. So these are my Penguin classics here. I feel like I could get rid of more. I'm gonna get rid of Bleak House by Charles Dickens, purely because this is a massive book and I keep telling myself I'm finally gonna get around to reading a Charles Dickens book and I just never do. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of this one. It's also a lot of space off my shelves, but I'm gonna keep the rest. The only one I've actually read is Jane Eyre, which I really loved. I want to keep Wuthering Heights purely for the Kate Bush song, and the rest I have genuine interest with, so I'm gonna keep them. American Gods can go up here, and then we've made a little bit more space on these shelves. I would get rid of The Witcher as well, but that's not mine, that belongs to Alex. I'm keeping all of my Game of Thrones books just in case George R. R. Martin finally puts out the final book, but do we think that's going to happen? We don't. The only one on this shelf that I think I'm going to get rid of is Dark Alchemy, which is a collection of short stories by some really amazing authors. I might read one book out of here just before I get rid of it to make owning it worth it, but otherwise this one is also going to go. If I'm honest, I think I'm happy with everything on this shelf apart from the Kite Runner. Now, when I did my bookshelf tour, a lot of people said, I can't believe you've got the Kite Runner and you haven't read it, and also the same for A Thousand Splendid Suns. But again, I don't like to read books that make me sad, but haven't read anything that's of this setting before. I've never read anything in Afghanistan, so I feel like it is an important book to read along with A Thousand Splendid Suns. I might give them until it may be January, February time, and if I still haven't read them, I'm going to get rid of them. I've also toyed with getting rid of The Luminaries because this is such a big book and I don't know if I'm going to get around to reading it. We'll give it a couple of months, and if it's still there in a couple of months unread, we're getting rid of it. I'm also generally really happy with all the books on this shelf. I don't think there's any that I want to get rid of. The only one I haven't really made my mind up with is Manhattan Beach, but I feel like I'll try that and read the first couple of pages. If I don't like it at that point, I'll get rid of it. So we're just going to move Percy. I haven't found a good place to keep this yet, so that's kind of just where it is for now. So I think on these shelves I'm going to get rid of Proxima and Ultima by Stephen Baxter, just for the same reason that we got rid of Voyage. And finally we can fit the Name of the Wind on here. Again, I'm not sure about whether I want to keep Salem's Lot or not. I don't know if I'd read it, but I've heard that it is actually a good book if you're into horror, and I haven't read that many good horror books, so we might give that one a chance. Although I will be keeping the Batchman books because this has gone out of print and it's highly desired in the book community. Maybe we'll to eBay that one in the future. I have some really good books on this shelf. The only one that I'm considering getting rid of is this one by Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter. Again, I have the whole series. I have books 1 till 5, but I've heard that this is the best of the series that they have written. So I'm in two minds about getting rid of all of them. I've got this Long Earth, I've got the Long War, and I've got the Long Mars as well. So genuinely, I don't know what to do about these ones because I've heard that these ones are the best, but I don't know when I'd get round to reading them. So I think I just need to be brave at this point and accept that these are gonna go. Although it pains me to be getting rid of them. But that did make quite a lot of room on my shelves, but not enough to actually fit Aurora Burning somewhere that actually makes sense. Also Deep Blue, I don't know whether I want to give that one a read, but that one I got because I saw it secondhand and I was just curious because it's something that caught my eye many years ago. So this is the shelf that I just got rid of the Long Earth off, so I did make some room to actually fit the Flatshare in here. This is one that I anticipate reading over the winter and getting rid of after I've read it. The only other one that I'm not sure about on here is the Wheel of Time series, which I have book 1 and book 2. I'm not that into adult fantasy, if I'm honest, so I don't know why I actually bought these. It's mainly just out of curiosity more than anything, so I may or may not get rid of them. And again, Schindler's Ark. Oh, what do I do about this one? There's a film based on this book and I can't watch the movie because it's just too sad, so I don't know how I would expect to then read a book about it. I'm just gonna get rid of it. I'm very sorry, Oscar Schindler. For the most part, I'm happy with this shelf. I don't think there's anything in here that I'm uncertain about. I'm keeping these because I'm giving them to my grandma anyway. So I think this shelf we can just move on from. Now on these shelves I do have a considerable amount of Brandon Sanderson, but I am considering getting rid of all of them. I've read part of The Final Empire by Mistborn and I didn't really enjoy it. I either need to try and sit down and properly reread it or just get rid of them all at this point. But I've heard so many good things about it. I don't know. I don't know if I can commit myself to it. Please do not come for me in the comments, okay? If I don't like it, I don't like it. I don't like beetroot either, so you can come for me for that if you want to. Taste is taste. I've already done pretty well with this shelf. I've made a lot of space here. I'm keeping these purely because I want to reread them again because I read them as a child and when they came out, and I've not read them since. And I'm just curious to see how they would reread, but I would never give my money to that devil woman ever again. I'm going to get rid of The Tudors, which is a non-fiction book that I used for my history degree. It's actually a really good, useful book for expanding your knowledge of the Tudors, but I have unfortunately written in it, so this one will probably just end up going in the bin or to a charity shop if someone would take a book that has notes in it. Richard Rex is generally a very well-read historian on the Tudors. A lot of what he says is well evidenced. So if you're looking for a way to expand your knowledge, I would recommend any book by Richard Rex. Alrighty, so the only thing I'm unsure of on this one, but I've already spoke about it, that's A Thousand Splendid Suns. Everything else I'm pretty much looking forward to reading or have read. Moving over to my orange shelf, I would love to display Priory of the Orange Tree cover front because it's got a really nice cover. So this shelf, a lot of this needs to go, unfortunately. I have taken the Long Mars, the Long War off this. So let's see if there's anything else here that I can get rid of. I want to read them, I want to read that, I want to read that, I want to read that. If you're looking for a non-fiction as well, I'd highly recommend A History of the World in 100 Objects. Very interesting. I'm keeping that forever. That's a signed book and that's a signed book. Okay, so apparently there's nothing else on here that I can get rid of so that I can store Priory front cover first. Starting to think that fourth bookcase might be a good option. Okay, so this shelf, my purple one, is a mess. We definitely need to do some sorting out here. I took the Long Mars from here already, so that made some space, thank God. I'm tempted to get rid of these two Sarah Waters novels. I've read, I think, 3 books by Sarah Waters and I just thought that they were okay. So I'm tempted to get rid of these two. But because it's Sarah Waters, these will be sapphic novels, so I'm tempted to keep them just to read some more lesbian literature, if I'm honest. Because apparently that's what my shelves are lacking. We'll keep them for now. I'm doing such a good job at this. I have considered getting rid of the Lunar Chronicles because I've read them and I enjoyed them. I'm not sure if I would reread them, but I'd like to think I would. But when I have this many books to read, I'm not sure if that's realistic, but I'm going to keep onto them for now. These are newly acquired, so these are waiting to be moved onto here in a more orderly fashion. If you're not new here, you'll notice that I have had to put my Crescent City this way. I used to have it cover facing off my shelves because I love the cover art so much, but I've just acquired so many books that it's not possible to store it that way anymore. I have had to put it this way. Although there's a Charles Dickens that we're going to get rid of. I'm going to get rid of Little Doris. I'm going to keep Catch-22. I like Ernest Hemingway as an author, but I don't know when I'd get around to reading For Whom the Bells Toll. The rest are all new or books that I've really enjoyed reading. I haven't made enough space to store Crescent City back like this, unfortunately. Oh, do I get rid of Les Mis just so I can store it like this? Although I have heard from you guys that Les Mis has a lot of information about the Paris sewer system, and you thought that that would be a reason for me to not read it, but honestly that is a reason that I'm interested. And we are now on to the final shelf, thank God. There's not a lot on here that I want to get rid of. The only one I'm a bit uncertain about Wool, if I'm honest, but not enough to get rid of it. This book by Brian Cox, Forces of Nature, isn't mine. It belongs to Alex, which I could try and offload onto him in his little gaming room. Did you know that Brian Cox is of the band that sang Things Will Only Get Better? That blew my mind when I found that out. I've read Station 11 and I didn't really enjoy it, but I'm keeping it for that one chapter about the airport, which was some of the best literature that I've ever read. I don't know why, but I just thought it was so smart and so well written, and I loved the cast that were in that chapter. I would just sit and reread that chapter again and not the whole book, so we're keeping it for that reason. So this is the finished pile of books that we're getting rid of. Honestly, I think we did alright. I think we did pretty good. A lot of these books will... Please ignore the mess. I'm having a massive clear out of everything right now. I think I've made a decent amount of space on my shelves, even though it doesn't look like it because I don't have that many empty gaps, which is concerning. But they will definitely be filled up. And I can't wait to show you what's in my November haul. So that is it for me and my shelves today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's anything on my shelves that you've seen that you think that I should get rid of, that I've spoke about as a maybe, or anything else that I've just sort of glanced over as well, let me know in the comments, and I hope that you're having a fantastic Sunday. See you in my next video. Bye!